Sadam. So a lot of traditions talk about this time that we're in right now, and they talk about the return of the goddess. But rarely do we hear about the return of the divine masculine, or another way to say it is the birth of the sacred masculine. And we're really longing for this energy on the planet right now. We really need this. So what we've seen up until now through the Piscean Age is a distortion and perversion of masculine energy. It's all about domination. It's all about conquer. It's all about competition. It's all about hierarchies. It's all about separation and division. It's all about taking us so far from the truth of who we are, taking us so far from the truth of our oneness. So we've seen the results of this destructive energy throughout the planet, from war and poverty to taking the minerals and natural resources of the planet to profit a few. And this distorted masculine energy solves problems by force of will. It's like that square won't fit into a round hole. Let's force it. And it doesn't matter if it destroys everything around it, as long as that gets done. That's that distorted masculine energy. So I think we can agree that this destructive energy, has to stop. And what it's taking us, the trajectory it's taking us on, is complete annihilation of the planet and every living thing on it. So the answer is not to swing the other way into a female-dominated world. We need both the masculine and the feminine energies. So in the Aquarian Age, we're called to walk side by side, right? As masculine and feminine, side by side, sharing power equally. And so the image that I have of this, how this will work, is there's a truck and there's a man on one side and a woman on the other, and they both, each one has a steering wheel, each one has a brake, and each one has an accelerator, okay? And the truck is filled with highly explosive material. So to share power equally is to really have a trust in yourself and a trust in that other person. So a trust in the masculine, a trust in the feminine, that they can walk side by side, self-sovereign. So the origins of the masculine is energetic. Doesn't matter if you were born into a female form or a male form. This sacred masculine will be birthed through both men and women. So the sacred masculine only responds to the divine feminine. So the sacred masculine will be birthed from the divine feminine. So this means that the true masculine will not respond through ego, through mind, through the will, the personal will. It will respond from the impulse of the divine feminine energy. The universal law is that yang, masculine, must respond to yin, feminine. The sacred masculine protects what is true. And what is true is our innocence. And this is different than naivete. The ego will throw innocence in with naivete. And this means like walking into dangerous situations blindfolded, a refusal to see the truth. Innocence is the purity of your heart. Innocence is the soul that cannot be stained, the soul that is without sin, the soul that is without shadow. And our human nature is innocence, it is kindness, it is compassion, and it is love. When we do harm to ourselves and to another, we're actually going against the truth of who we are. We're going against our own human nature. So the sacred masculine is returning to protect that innocence within each person. So this is why people have been experiencing anger in the last month or so. It's this sacred masculine that's penetrating through, that's penetrating through these lies and through the illusion. So things that you used to put up with before, you can't put up with anymore. You can't deal with the nonsense anymore. You just want to be direct. You just want to speak the truth. You're feeling angry, you're feeling frustrated at how things have been. So this is the sacred masculine penetrating through the unconscious mind, through the collective unconscious of humanity. So the sacred masculine gives you that courage to speak the truth. The sacred masculine gives you that strength and grit to make those changes that serve your soul. And the sacred masculine penetrates through all the lies of the Piscean age to reveal the truth and then to protect that truth. So trust when this anger is coming up for you. It's actually communicating something really important to you. That something has to change in your life. That relationship has to change, or at least that relationship dynamic has to change. That financial situation has to change. Your living situation has to change. That job has to change. The way that you've been treating yourself has to change. Your health has to change. The sacred masculine is one-pointed. It's like an arrow towards its goal. It gives you absolute focus towards your higher destiny, towards your higher purpose. So we really need that energy in this technological age with all the gazillions of distractions we have now with the internet. And these goals and this higher purpose has to come from the divine feminine, or else there's no energy there. You're acting from ego mind, you'll just fall flat. And when your goals and higher purpose come from the divine feminine, you can trust that, because the divine feminine is all inclusive. So it's connected to all. It's connected to all that is. So every action that's coming from that place will only serve the whole. Right? It doesn't have that separation energy of the distorted, perverted masculine energy. So that one-pointedness is a consolidation of your consciousness. You know, think of archer pose. You're completely focused on your higher purpose, penetrating through all obstacles in your path. Immovable, unstoppable, until you explode through time and space to meet your destiny. That's the energy of the sacred masculine. And the sacred masculine is the embodiment of commitment. And commitment is what will carry you through all adversity. Commitment is what will carry you through all challenges in your life. Commitment is like a rope that's pulling you through dark tunnels, dark times in your life. And your only job is to hold on to that rope. So you hold on to commitment. Commitment is an energy. It's not just a word with meaning. It's an energy. And sometimes the only thing that we can count on in our life is our commitment. So commitment doesn't allow you to compromise your spiritual journey. And you define what your spiritual journey is, not someone else. And commitment opens the way for you. Commitment is like using those magic words, open sesame, and suddenly the path is formed before you. So to activate the sacred masculine in your life is a paradox. And it's all about paradox in the Aquarian Age. These two seemingly different things, and yet both are true. So to activate the sacred masculine in your life means to surrender. Not to use force or will, it is to surrender. So surrender into that divine feminine. And from that emerges the sacred masculine. And then this is where inspired action comes from. You'll feel it emerging deep from within your belly. Like, yeah, this is how I have to act. I must act now. Right? It's like one of the sutras in the Aquarian Age. When the pressure's on, act, and the pressure will be off. that action is coming from the sacred masculine. So the sacred masculine and the divine feminine, they activate one another. So it's interesting how they work in consciousness. The divine feminine is like a spiral. It's ever expanding. It includes everything. It's wild, it's uncontained. It's moving endlessly, right? Including everything in its wake. So the sacred masculine is like an arrow. It's coming out of the divine feminine like a thunderbolt, right? It's giving direction to consciousness. And this is how consciousness grows and expands.